They say a man's worth is written on his uniform, stitched into the ranks on his shoulder, and announced by the medals that shine across his chest. But that's a lie, because sometimes the most extraordinary warriors walk among us dressed in old janitor coveralls, pushing brooms instead of carrying rifles. And on one quiet morning at a Navy base, when a group of young officers laughed at a tired single dad mopping a hallway, the world learned a truth none of them were ready for, a truth that made 5 four-star generals stand at attention, heels together, hands raised in a salute so sharp it echoed. What they saluted wasn't a janitor. It was a legend they thought was dead. And this is how that moment came to be. Chapter 1. The story begins in the early dawn light at North Harbor Naval Installation, when the hallways still smelled faintly of disinfectant and sea salt carried through open windows. The base was calm, the waves steady and low, the kind of morning that felt almost too peaceful for a place built for war. Down one wide corridor moved Ethan Rourke, a 42-year-old single father whose gentle eyes didn't match the exhaustion in his shoulders. He wore faded navy blue janitor overalls with a stitched name tag already peeling at the corners. His boots were scuffed. His posture was slightly bent. To anyone passing by, he was just another maintenance worker heading toward another mess left overnight. Ethan pushed his mop bucket slowly, humming under his breath. Not because he liked the task but because he had learned that a quiet tune helped keep his mind from drifting to the memories he tried so hard to bury, the ones where young men cried out his name during storms of bullets, or the nights he alone carried 3 injured teammates through the jungle with blood drying on his hands. He never spoke of those things. Not to his co-workers. Not even to his own son. Because Ethan Rourke had sworn a promise years ago. He walked away from the Navy SEALs, from the medals, from the operations no one was allowed to admit existed. He left everything behind, including his rank, the highest a SEAL could earn before becoming a ghost, but now, all he cared about was raising his 10-year-old son, Noah. The boy was the reason Ethan woke up every morning at 4 a.m. to clean hallways before school drop-off. Noah deserved stability, love, and a father who didn't jump at the sound of fireworks. Ethan didn't care that people thought he was just a janitor. He embraced the simplicity. He preferred invisibility. It felt safe walking into Corridor C. Ethan noticed 3 young naval officers talking loudly, joking as they leaned against the wall. They were newly commissioned, probably hadn't even completed a real deployment yet. Their uniforms were crisp, their confidence sharp, and their respect for others limited. One of them, a tall lieutenant with a fresh haircut and the kind of smirk that made people want to step away, glanced at Ethan. "Hey, buddy," he called out. "What's your rank, huh?" "Janitor first class." His friends burst into laughter, nudging each other like they'd said something worth repeating. Ethan didn't respond. He kept his eyes on the floor, rolling his bucket forward. "Oh come on," another officer chimed in. "Don't be shy. Maybe he's a rear admiral of mop operations." More laughter. Ethan simply moved past them, wiping the floor without comment. He didn't care about insults. He had been called worse. He had walked through worse. He had survived worse, but the lieutenant wasn't done. "Hey," he shouted. "I asked you a question. What's your rank?" For the first time, Ethan looked up, only briefly. His voice was calm, polite. "Sir, just here to work. Let me pass." The lieutenant scoffed. "Whatever. Guess you don't even know how the chain of command works." Ethan didn't argue. He had nothing to prove. Or so he thought. The hallway was silent except for the distant hum of machines. Ethan felt every heartbeat echo in his chest. General Hawthorne lowered his salute first, stepping forward with a voice that carried both authority and genuine emotion. "Sir, it's an honor to see you again. We thought," he stopped, his throat tightening. "We were told you'd never return." Ethan forced a small smile. "I didn't," he answered quietly. "I'm only here to work. Nothing more." The young lieutenants exchanged confused looks. The idea that a janitor was being saluted by 4-star generals didn't fit anywhere in their understanding of the world. One whispered, "Is this real?" Another muttered, "Who is this guy?" And the lieutenant who mocked Ethan looked like the floor had opened beneath him. General Hawthorne looked at him coldly. "Lieutenant," he said sharply, "you owe this man a level of respect you cannot begin to comprehend." Then he turned back to Ethan, softening again. "Sir, we could use you. The world could use you." Ethan shook his head. "No. I'm done with that life. I promised my son I'd never leave him again. The mention of Noah changed everything. Hawthorne's face warmed. Your boy. How is he? He's good, Ethan replied. Struggling in school, but he tries hard. He's the only thing that matters now. Hawthorne nodded as if he understood perfectly. Because he did. They all did. Every general standing there had sacrificed something: family, time, pieces of themselves. But Ethan had sacrificed more than all of them combined. To them, he wasn't just a commander or a war hero. He was the man who had saved entire teams, entire missions, entire regions. A man whose strategies had prevented wars no one knew were ever close to erupting. A man who had disappeared into silence without asking for recognition, medals, or praise. General Reyes, the youngest of the five, stepped forward. Sir, at least let us honor you properly. A ceremony. A recognition of the sacrifices. Ethan shook his head again. No ceremonies. No gifts. No speeches. I don't want my son to grow up thinking glory matters more than goodness. I'm trying to teach him that men don't need applause to be strong. General Reyes swallowed hard, moved by the words, but then something unexpected happened. The lieutenant who mocked Ethan earlier stepped forward, guilt written plainly across his face. Sir. I'm so sorry, he stammered. I didn't know who you were. Ethan looked at him, really looked. And instead of anger or pride or ego, Ethan simply said, you don't need to know who people are to treat them with respect. Just treat everyone like they matter. The lieutenant lowered his head, ashamed yet grateful. Hawthorne placed a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. Your son is lucky to have you. Ethan's eyes softened. I'm the lucky one. The generals exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. Then, together, they stepped aside, granting him space as if he were still their superior officer. Ethan nodded respectfully and resumed pushing his mop bucket forward, the world returning to quiet. But as he moved on, something subtle, yet powerful, shifted within the hearts of everyone present. The young officers stood straighter, humbled. The generals watched him as if witnessing something sacred. And somewhere deep inside Ethan, the weight of his past felt lighter, just a little. Not because he was recognized, but because he realized he could live in both worlds, the humble father who mopped floors, and the man quietly carrying an unspoken legacy. What happened that morning spread across the base within minutes. Some thought it was an exaggeration. Others assumed it was a rumor. But the truth was stronger than gossip. 5 four-star generals had saluted a janitor, not for his uniform, or his rank, or his achievements, but for the men he chose to become when he walked away from everything. By the end of the day, Ethan picked up Noah from school. The boy ran to him and hugged him tight, unaware of anything unusual. Dad, can we get ice cream? He asked. Ethan smiled, brushing hair from his son's forehead. Of course. And as they walked toward the small ice cream stand across the street, Ethan realized that for the first time in years, he didn't feel like he was running from his past. He felt like he had finally made peace with it. The legend was still alive, but the men he became mattered even more. A father. A protector. A humble servant. A quiet hero, the kind of man worth saluting, even without a uniform.